Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting with Paints or Chatting with Painting. I haven't figured it out yet. I will figure it out by the time I post it though. It's basically where I talk about random topics while I do stuff. It used to be driving, but now I don't drive as much as I need to, so there's no real need for long distance podcasts. I will do a disclaimer, there is a lot of sensitive content that we do talk about. And I do swear a lot, so if you don't want to hear me swearing or anyone swearing, then change the channel. You don't have to listen to me. I'm only full of shit. So if you don't want to hear that, change the channel. Honestly, I'm not going to make you listen to my crap. Oh, creepy people in the window. Right, so the topic for today is child violence. Now, this is a pretty serious topic for me, considering I'm a teacher, and I come from a background of domestic violence and berserker parents, and I know what it's like to be up against an adult who beats the shit out of you as a form of parenting. So when it comes to disciplining kids with violence and smacking, I am definitely against it, because I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of it. So but the question that came up to mind for me at this moment, because I had an interesting experience on Thursday in my classroom, funny enough, is at what point can we defend ourselves physically from a kid that beats the shit out of us? So that was an interesting topic. Now, as a teacher, you'll be faced with all kinds of experiences from kids that are not typical, should we say. They might be facing trauma at home, especially in the low SES schools that I do. I work with a lot of kids that come from a trauma background, and their first reaction, having experienced any kind of emotion like fear or anger, is to lash out at anything that comes near them. I didn't have that experience with this kid. This kid was ASD, funny enough, same as me. Sorry, I'm just setting a timer because I know if I don't, I will waffle. But this kid had ASD. He was not good with his words. He has no way of voicing his emotions. So his reaction when angry, upset, was an outburst of physicality, essentially. Totally out of the blue. I don't even understand what set him off, but it was a case of he didn't like that I was in the room and decided to react. I am not the kind of teacher that is a confronting kind of teacher. I don't raise my voice. I don't like anything like conflict in the classroom. I'm there as a very chill medium and an earth sign. I turn up, we just go. It's like I'm not about causing problems and creating hostile environments for my learners. I don't have the authoritative shit going on. I am not the boss in that I need to dominate you. I'm pretty chill. I will show you how to do things, but if you don't want to do them, fuck it. Pretty much. Probably not in those professional terms, but I'm not going to sit there and make you do stuff. If you don't want to do it and you're having a bad day, that's cool, man. We'll just go and find something else to do. Probably just go for a sleep on the beanbags or something. So for some reason, this kid had kicked off, and I was only meant to be there for an hour because I was doing relief on the day, not my contract work. We were sitting on the mat. I was getting the rest of the class involved, and the kids already know me. They love me because it's like, oh, good, it's this teacher again. Half of them gave me a hug before I even sat down on the mat, which was pretty cool. I'm like, okay, so we're going to have a good lesson. I'm just filling in for someone who needed to go and do some extra stuff. So we're sitting on the mat. Everybody's on the mat. Everybody's listening, watching the board. Pretty cool. He's sitting in the background with his back to me, kicking a chair up against the wall, slightly. And gradually, over about 10 minutes, the kicking gets a bit more aggressive. I'm like, okay, so that's distracting my learners. I need to get that out of the way. So I went to get up. He's not even looking at me at the time. And I moved the chair just out of his way. Just out of his way, because I don't want that noise. I don't like that kind of noise as well. I got fucked up head issues about sounds and things like that. So loud noises and repetitive drilling sounds, we're just going to get that out of the way. As soon as I went to go push the chair, and I didn't even grab the chair, I pushed the fucking chair out of the way, just out of his leg length. He gets up off the floor, grabs the chair, grabs it by the legs, and rams it into my abdomen. And I'm like, this is a 7-year-old. He's year 2. My reaction is, oh. So I was like, grab the fucking chair. I'm going, what are you doing? Because this is like out of the fucking blue. As soon as I got the chair off him, I put it down on the ground and I'm like, out. Because that's the only thing we can do. We can't physically get them out. We just, point to the door and say, out. Otherwise, we got a barrage of parents saying, why did you manhandle my child? And I'm like, I didn't. The fucker came at me. And I'm just out. And it's like, what is the... And the whole time I'm sitting there going, what is the problem? This kid's sitting there screaming at me, get out. I'm going, what the fuck did I do? I'm sitting there going, I'm moving this chair out of the way. What did I do? So obviously I've triggered something. And I'm looking at the other kids going, what's going on, sort of thing. He's like, why is he angry? I don't get it. And they're like, okay. So as soon as I get the orange chair, and it's an orange chair at the time, it's a metal-legged chair, and I'm sitting there. So far I know for a fact from that one chair, I've got bruising here and on my hip where it just went in. And yeah. So I've got this chair off him, put it to the side. Meanwhile, while I put it to the side, he's backed away closer to the door. He's grabbed a blue chair and thrown it at me. Blue plastic chair. Solid plastic. And the whole time he's sitting there screaming, kicking and punching. And, by the time I get him near the door to try and get him out the door, he's also, I'm trying to stop him from kicking me in the legs and punching me. He's got his nails on my arm and he's scratching down my arm. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't need this on a Thursday, mate. And I'm just like, I'm not even touching him. He's backing away, but he's punching and kicking as he goes. And I'm like, the fuck is going on? I'm like blocking it fucking Neo style. I'm like, the fuck is this shit? And he's scratching and he got hold of my hair and I'm like, and he's like, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm sitting there holding my hair, trying to get his hand off my hair. Finally get him out of the doorway. Just out of the doorway, it's one of those sliding doors. And I'm trying to get him out of the room because I don't want him getting near the other kids. Kids are freaking out in the background. They're all escalating and shit because this kid kicking off is like a fucking nightmare. The lesson is not going to happen, essentially. This whatever this literacy-based lesson was, it's not going to fucking happen. I get him outside. I'm sitting there going, go to the office. I've sent a runner already to go to the office to go and get one of the deputies because this is what we do. We can't physically manhandle the child to get them out of the fucking room. The best we can do is send for the deputies. Deputies come back and get them. That's all we can do. I didn't have an EA in the room, so I didn't even have a second person backing me up. Just to say, hey, can you call up the office or something? There's no phone in the room, so we can't call the head office and say, can you fucking send someone? So I'm sitting there, and this kid's outside. He's noticed that I've sent that first runner, so he's piss-bolted after him. I finally go back to close the swinging door so I can get the kids that are not going berserk inside to a safe zone. And I'm sitting there screaming through the door. Well, not really screaming so much as, forcibly saying, lock the door, because this kid's fucking kicking off. If we lock the door, then at least I know you guys are safe and I can go deal with him. They're freaking out. They don't know what to do. They're like fucking stunned deers. Like, what do we do? And I'm sitting there, lock the door. It's like I'm sitting there trying to get you guys safe. He's piss-bolted after the first runner, so I'm like, okay, at least he's out of the room. He notices that I'm closing the door. He comes, wheels back round, pulls the door open with like uber strength. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? It's like, how are you this strong? I get a second runner with a red card. And a red card's the official card that you send to the office when you know shit's going down. That's the emergency card. So I send this second kid. She comes running out, and she's my favorite. She's one of my favorite girls. I can't believe he did this to her. She runs out with the red cards. Little Vietnamese girl. I fucking love her. She's made it halfway across the basketball courts. There is like the 4 courts of the classrooms. Halfway to the office, he piss bolts after her, catches up, grabs her by the hair, rips her down to the ground, starts wailing on her. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? So I'm piss bolting after him, trying to get him off her. Meanwhile, the kids in the classroom are opening the fucking door again. It's like, what's going on? It's like, so I'm like, dude, close the door. I told you to lock it. This kid's a fucking mental. He's noticed the door's open again, leaves her on the floor, fucking runs back to the classroom to go and start on these other kids. And I'm running after him, trying to close the door, and I'm holding the door shut. And the other kids are holding the door shut on the other side. And I'm like, lock the door. He's swinging on the door, kicking and punching me the whole time with his whatever limbs are free from the door handle. Finally, Two EAs across the basketball court have noticed that I'm getting the shit kicked out of me 10 minutes later from all the screaming that he's making. And they look at you like, you need help? I'm like, motherfucker, send someone. Go and walk up there yourself. They're just looking at you like, it's like, what is going on? So they're fucking useless. Finally, one of them takes the initiative to wander up to the office, and I notice them go, and they're just like leisurely walking up there. It's like, you sack of shit. So I will never go back to that school. Finally, after about 10 minutes, the deputy comes out. Meanwhile, this kid has already kicked me in the shins, rammed a chair into my stomach, thrown another chair at me. The kids are arcing up. My PTS is kicking off. The noise is everything. And I'm like, my hair's pulled. I'm scratched up my arms and shit. I got dents in my fucking shins from him kicking and punching me. And the girl, there's Victoria, she's my little Vietnamese girl. She's sitting on the floor screaming and crying because he's just, kicked her ass too. And I'm like, I finally get myself inside. They grab him. I get myself inside, lock myself in with the kids that are left over. They start building a barricade of chair stacks. And I'm like, don't do that. It looks bad. Just don't. If the door's locked, it's fine. Just don't. And they're like, no, because they're freaking out and they're all elevated and shit. And I'm going, this is more than it's fucking worth. And it's a case of an ASD kid that had a meltdown, tried to trash the classroom and then attack other people, attacked me. And the only reason there is not like he's actually doing any classwork or anything like that. The reason he's there is to socialize him. I'm going, at what point are we endangering our kids and staff in order to hopefully socialize someone? I'm sitting there going, I would never have dreamt of this as a kid. Never. Never this amount of violence or anything. But he finally gets picked up by the deputies. They call his parents. The parents come on site. They sit down with him. They have a chat. I'm sitting there ripped to shreds. I get asked by the deputies, are you okay? I'm like, what do you fucking think? I'm sitting there going, where was you? Why is there not a phone in here? Why are the EAs staring like nothing's fucking happening? Why was I ignored? The kids are freaking out. Everyone's fucking upset. And the deputies go, are you okay? So I'm sitting there going, if I wasn't currently conditioning myself to not react with like things like gym, I've medicated myself, not a serious medication, just like a supplement medication, but I am constantly trying to calm my anger issues and my trauma responses and stuff like that. If I wasn't doing that, in a horrible way, my snap decision would have been to lay that fucker in the floor. It's like, I'm just thinking how, as a child, I was conditioned to respond to that kind of elevated stress, and the condition would be knock the fucker out. Now, you can't do that in the classroom. It's frowned upon. I couldn't even get a grip on him to stop him hurting me. I just had to keep blocking, like fucking jujitsu fucking blocking. Because like everything was coming at me, I'm like, fuck off. Just back him up. And you can't just, because you want to, but you can't. Because why'd you lay hands on my son? He was kicking my ass. And this is a 7-year-old. I'm going, dude, you're like barely out of nappies. Why are you doing this? And the whole time he's screaming at me, get out, I hate you, get out. And I'm sitting there going, why are you angry? And I'm oblivious because I wasn't given any kind of information that this kid might potentially kick off like this. And this is what the life of a teacher is. You might walk into someone else's classroom and suddenly this happens, and it's fucking ridiculous. I'm sitting there going, this is why you got teachers leaving, because of this kind of shit. We don't come to work to be assaulted. And I had to inform the office that this is what happened. I had to do an incident report. I had to fill out all that, whether it got filed or not, I don't know. Because it looks bad for the school, doesn't it? So I got my ass kicked on Thursday by a 7-year-old, and I didn't even get time to gather my thoughts after this. It happened just before lunch. I had about 10 minutes of lunch, and then I had to walk into my next classroom as if nothing happened. You want to be an actor? Be a fucking teacher first. So, that's fine, kids. Everything's fine. Just got my ass handed to me. I can't breathe. I feel sick and I'm bruised internally, but that's fine. So at what point, my question is it all right to hit the fucker back? No, I don't. On principle, I don't. I don't agree with child violence. I do question at what point is it okay to physically defend yourself, and in what way. Now, I've been trained by, like with professional learning and stuff like that, not to aggravate the situation, to downplay it. You don't raise your voice, you back off. You take things out of their hands, you clear a space. If you can, you evacuate the whole fucking class so they can just trash the room and get on with it. The consequences for his meltdown at 7, and I'm bearing in mind, he is a kid. The consequences for his meltdown, he got to go home. You got the rest of the day off. Oh, that's sad. What happens when he's a teenager or adult and he has a meltdown and it's fine? Because he's got learning differences. He's got anger issues. I have fucking anger issues. I had anger issues as a kid. I didn't trash anything. I didn't. And so I question, like, what punishments are we using these days in classrooms and learning circumstances? Now, gentle parenting is the way forward. It's okay to gentle parenting. But the majority of kids are responsive to it. At what point, when a child is violent to you, and I was assaulted, that's straight up and down, that was assault. If it was an adult, he'd be arrested by now. But that kid assaulted me in the workplace. At what point is it acceptable because he's smaller than me? It still fucking hurt. It still fucked up my PTS. It's like, why is that okay for him to beat the shit out of me and I'm supposed to pretend that it's okay and nothing happens? It's not even my fucking kid. And just carry on like, oh, it's fine, he's just having a day. It's like, at what point are the parents held accountable for what they're bringing into the classroom? What if he attacked another kid? And he did attack another kid. He attacked my Victoria. I'm sitting there going, at what point can we start separating these violent kids from the not violent ones? It's like, you can't do that, it's discriminatory. He's attacking other kids. He's attacking the teacher. He is violent. Were he a teenager, 18 maybe, or just under 18, 17 and 16 months, because he's not an adult then, would it be okay if he attacked the teacher still? Probably not. But it's okay because, he's just having a bad day and he's ASD. I'm ASD, I'll never hit anyone like that. It's a spectrum. No, that's an excuse. You're making excuses for him to hit people so you don't have to deal with it. Now, teachers are not allowed to deal with it in the way that potentially it should be dealt with, which is putting him on his ass. He has chosen this method to convey his message. Maybe, I don't know, and I'm still in two minds about it. It's like, maybe we should give a response in the same fucking way. So at this point, like, you put out a message, here's the response. It's like, because if you had shouted at me, I could bat it off. The fact that I had trouble sleeping on the night that it happened, I couldn't lay flat because I got bruising on my hips and ribs where he jammed the chair into me. I don't know if I'm going to get compensation or anything from that, or they're just going to say it was just part of the job. I doubt it. I doubt they even filed the fucking incident report because it looks bad for them. But it's like, at what point can we say this is not acceptable? You're not allowed to physically hurt people, and because they're an adult, it's not, just because they're an adult doesn't make it okay. It's like, I didn't come to work to get assaulted. I had a deputy very apologetically coming up to me afterwards, like, I'm on your side. It's like, you shouldn't come to work and get it done. It's like going, where's the phone in the room? Where is my EA? Why was I not informed that he is capable of this? Where the fuck were you? You spent 20 minutes in the fucking office after I sent a runner. So 20 minutes, I'm sitting there getting my ass kicked by a 7-year-old. Where were you? I was in a meeting. So I'm not going back to that school. That's one of the ones I've officially crossed off. I'm booked for 2 more days there, and then it's just like, no, I'm not going back there. And I swear to God, if you ever put me in those circumstances again in the next 2 days, I don't know what I'll do. I'll do something pretty, not physically violent towards anyone, but definitely I'll probably report it to the police or something like that, because that is just horrendous. Now, what comes to mind as well is EAs, special needs EAs, put up with this shit. day in, day out, they are the victims of assault so many fucking times, and they put it down to he's got a mental impairment or she's got a disability, different ability. It's like, no, what are we allowing? What are we allowing to occur to our staff where they come back with bruises and cuts and you know, they're just not valued as people because they think they should have to take this shit, and I don't understand why it's considered part of their job. It's not. If you have had one kid that has physically had an outburst, you should be allowed to put it somewhere else where it's not going to be able to harm others with its behaviors. I mean, I'm not saying segregate the differently abled. I'm saying separate the violent ones from the non-violent ones. And it sounds wrong because we all want to be inclusive, and kids are portrayed as the innocent at this point because it's all left over from, you know, like the church getting involved in the education system as a form of salvation, and children are the ultimate innocent because they're meant to be Christ-like and baby Jesus and shit like that. And for the most part, yes, they are innocents. They don't know what they're doing. But when one kicks the shit out of me on a Thursday and I'm already fucking tired, it's like, it took a great deal of strength to not react with primal instinct there. I have to say, a great deal of strength. And I'm quite proud of myself for the way I reacted there. I kept a fucking calm head. I kept the class in order. I got him out of the room. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't raise a hand. I blocked every fucking... I kept going, bitch. I was Neo. I got him out of the room. I got someone on him. I checked out Victoria. And I'm sitting there going, I covered every fucking base. And then I finally got to talk to the deputy at the end of the session, and I was like, even now I am controlling my anger, because right now you've shown me that you cannot lead, you cannot protect your staff, and I do not want to fucking work here. I was livid on the inside, and that's an understatement. I am so glad that the conditioning I put myself through to deal with my PTS and my anger has worked. Behavioral cognitive therapy, do it. Do it because it could at one point mean your job. Not that you should take a physical beating at work, but realistically it bears fruit. But it's crazy. It's like, why has it come to this? Why is this okay? And I'm beginning to think it's more of a case of parents not wanting to be the bad guy and discipline their kids. Teachers not being allowed to be the bad guy in case the parents say they're the bad guy and you're getting shit and fired. Okay, so from both sides, this kid is enabled in this behavior of, I can do no wrong because there is no consequence, and I can do and act however I fucking want, because what's the worst that can happen? I get talked to, my parents come pick me up, and I got the day off next day. There's no consequence. Timmy had a meltdown, gave the teacher a blood nose, but it's okay because he gets to go home and play on his PlayStation now. So it's like, you are setting us up to be victimized in these scenarios. And we're not going to brush it off because we're the adult and we have to be okay with this. This is not why we came to work. I came to work to look after the kids because I fucking love looking after the kids. They are cool little individuals in their own right. I will not accept violence. And I told the deputy, it's like, if you put me in a situation like that again, I don't give a fuck what time of day it is, I'm going home. It's like, because if little Timmy gets to beat the shit out of someone and then go home and have fun for the rest of the day, I'm just going to do the same again. I won't beat the shit out of someone, but I'm not staying. And you can deal with the aftermath of that. It's crazy. And that is a case of me sticking up my boundaries pretty fucking hard. And I encourage any other person who's put up with that shit to just go home. Fuck them. And if they got a problem with it, sue their ass off them. Safety in the workplace is paramount. I should be able to walk into a room and do my job. Not wonder if I'm going to be bleeding and bruised by the end of the day. Or in this case, before lunch. You know? I'm just, crazy. The kids. It's like, what does it come to where this is acceptable? And you just got to go with it. It's like, no. You got so many asshole parents just like, what did you do to him? It's like, I got my ass kicked. I stood there and took it. It's like, that's what I did. You're the adult. He's like, yeah, and he still attacked me. It's like, now what, fucker? Oh, it's crazy. So that was my Thursday. So at what point can we react with like if the kid was coming at you with a knife or a weapon or some kind? Because this fucker had a chair. He had 2 chairs, one of which he touched, like rammed into my stomach. The other he threw at me. 7 years old. Barely comes up to my shoulder. I'm 5'4". He has a meltdown and I get bleeding or internal damaging because I had under my ribs here, from here down towards my womb, towards my ovary, bruising, and above my hip here. So it's like, if I was pregnant or, you would have miscarried. And I've known teachers to be like 6 months pregnant and teaching still. I've known them. So what if you have like a meltdown kid and you just lose the baby or something like that? There's so much risk involved with wanting to look after kids these days that it's not a case of, oh, he's a bit of a shit today. It's a case of it is solid physical danger. And you've got the education department wondering why no one wants to be a fucking teacher anymore. It's because it fucking physically hurts to now. I mean, what did we used to do? We used to expel them. Now we've got to be more mindful. Oh, he's just having a bad day. It's like, no, expel the fucker. He just violated a teacher. Oh, we're giving him an extra chance. He's got the week off. He's got the month off. He's only coming in on half days. Oh, that's okay. He's only here for an hour and a half. Then he's going to go home. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Damage that fucker did in an hour. Imagine if he had an hour and a half to do it in. Imagine if he had only a half day to do it in. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it. Doesn't matter how much time you've allotted to it. Fuck it off. No. School's for people who want to be there, who do the right thing, who look after each other, who don't beat the shit out of the teacher. I mean, it's mental. It is mental. Oh my gosh. I mean, it lends itself to all kinds of things as well. What are they going to be like as adults? What are they going to be like when they get into a relationship and someone pisses them off? And how do they respond? With their fists. But it's okay because they're little. It's okay because, they're a child. Oh, they act like adults, but they're a child. Because they're smaller and you're supposed to just take it. It's like, oh, no. No. As a teenager, what are they going to be doing? And at what point do we draw the lines? Like, you can't just use that excuse that they're young or they're differently abled and so it's okay. No. It's not. And while childhood is a time for learning to socialise, at some point you draw the line and you say, this one is violent. No. No. I have been spat on, sworn at, called a fucking cunt by a 10-year-old before. I have had chairs thrown at me, desks thrown at me, flipped. Some of the language that comes out of these fuckers. And these are kids from rough backgrounds, so they know it all. They know all the words. And you sit there and you think... Meanwhile, if I say a swear word, I get the shit. Don't swear in front of them. Don't even say shut up. You're not allowed to say shut up around them. Because it's a swear word. You can't tell them to shut up because that's aggressive. Meanwhile, they're calling me a fucking cunt. It's like, I'm sorry, what? I don't know. So if you're thinking of going into teaching, you might want to think again. Be a bouncer. If you're going to get shit kicked out of you, at least get paid for it properly. UFC fighter? I don't know. But it's ridiculous. It's like, what can we do so there is real consequence for these kids? There is no consequence for them anymore. They don't care. They just don't care. They've got away with murder. And they know the teachers can't do anything because we get fired. They know the parents won't do anything because otherwise they'll make their life a living hell for the rest of the week or whatever until they get what they want. So they grow up to be adults with no sense of consequence. If they're violent, it's 10 times worse. What's going to happen? We're going to find a strain on things like the prison system because these fuckers are going to get arrested for assault, obviously, or murder, or rape, and stuff like that. All the big crimes because no one's told them before no, or no one's been able to stand up to them and say no, because from day dot they've been enabled and rewarded with going home time. It's ridiculous. The education system is fucked. And the parental system is fucked. We're supposed to be building communities where, kids feel nurtured and safe, especially in low SES areas where they come from a home life which is fucked. School should be a safe place. I don't feel safe some days. There are some kids I will not work with because they're built like fucking brickies. And I know if they kick off, and they often do have anger issues because they come from backgrounds, I will not work with them because there is too much of a risk to me. Breaking up fights amongst year 6 students because one of them decided to fucking look at one another silly or funny look or say a word or some shit like that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You feel like you need a bouncer yourself just to fucking get on with your lessons. It's like, where's the security guard? Because if these fuckers kick off, I don't want to get assaulted, you know? I mean, year 6's kick off, I'm going to let them do it at this point because I'm not getting involved. These kids are huge. They're all taller than me. I'm 5'4". I'm built like a fucking waif. These fuckers look like sumo wrestlers and shit. I can't defend. It's like, who do I just let them go? At this point, I mean, what can we do? It's crazy. We got to start. I mean, it sounds horrible because you don't want to isolate kids, and we want to be all inclusive, and we want to believe that kids are innocent and, you know, and they can do no harm and shit like that because we're conditioned to believe it. But at the same time, if I walk into a classroom, I know I'm going to get smacked around. I'm not going to turn up. And you're wondering why you're not getting staff. Can't find staff to find positions because we don't want to get assaulted. If we wanted to work in a prison, we'd work in a fucking prison. I came to work in a school with kids. Kids don't do that. If your kid's doing that, there's something fucking wrong with it. I would question what your input in that is. We blame the parents. We blame the parents because they are the first contact these kids have. And as much as we can say, oh, we're building a nurturing, fostering environment, you are the first contact they have. If they think that violence is okay, you've had a hand in it. It's like if they think violence against adults is okay, you've had a hand in it. You've done something there. You've either enabled it, ignored it, empowered them to do it. Don't know. Ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. It's just ridiculous. And it was such a fucked up thing. I was already tired. I'm just like, I don't need this. So if you think about being a teacher, think again. Think again. Slowly, like Friday was Sunday. Yesterday I was walking around school holding my stomach because it feels bruised, which is just not nice. My hips fucked again. Thanks to this kid. I don't think I'm going to get any kind of support from the admin because of that. Even though I filed this report, I don't think I will get any compensation. I was handed a pamphlet for counselling. I've already been to a site before this fucker turned up. So that's their thing. It's like, oh, we're on your side. Here's a pamphlet for counselling. It's like, are you going to remove this kid from the class? No, we can't do that. The parents will kick up a stink. It's like, you just lost yourself a teacher. Bye-bye. It's like, I'm not doing this. Been teaching nearly 15 years now, bitch. I am not doing this. Not cool. So there you go. I mean, it is important to hold up your boundaries, and sometimes you will find bits of your job where you can't really negotiate your terms. But in that, when it comes to violence, stand up for yourself. Don't take that shit. Don't. I'm not going to take that shit at all. And it's covered up a lot as well because, you know, they're afraid of what the parents might do. I've had aged teachers, old ladies, who've been fired on the basis of what a small child, year 1, has said about them. These women have been working for decades in service of the education system. But because one year 1 decided to say, she hit me. She didn't hit you. You didn't get your way. You cracked the shits. Because this kid was known to crack the shits. My friend, what was her name? Hazel or something like that. I can't remember now. But she's been working for decades. She got pulled before the board because this year 1 said she hit him. She never hit anyone. She's just calm as fucking days long. She is a grandma. She is just a grandma. And she got fired for it. She had a choice. You can get fired or you can leave with severance pay. And she said, I'm 70 odd. Fuck this. I'm leaving. And she had no choice. She loved her job. She still comes back and does relief. She does. She had a full-time job. Year 1, she loved it. She was just this nice little grandma that potted around the classroom looking after little kids. But because one little shit decided to crack the shits one day, claim that she got hit, she got fired. I'm going, this woman's been working since the fucking 60s. You wonder why you're losing. There's no backing up of teachers, there's no support of staff. Everybody's worried about getting fired themselves, so they won't back you up. The parents don't give a shit about the kids' behavior as long as it's not their fucking problem. And even when it is their fucking problem, they're going to blame someone else. The kid gets away with murder and then grows up to be a little asshole. So it's like, this could have been nipped in the bud early. It could have really, with real consequence, not just a piece of paper, not just coming and picking them up and bailing them out of this horrible situation they find themselves in, rescued from shit they created. I don't know where it's going to go. So I'm going to leave that for the, just send that one out into the universe. See if you guys can think of some reasons or ways to fix this, because it's mental, as far as I can see. I don't know how we'd fix that. It's crazy. It's a collapsing system as far as I can see. Because no teacher is going to work in those circumstances. You're going to run out of teachers. We're already running out of relief staff. We've got the young, naive teachers that aren't going to stay in there long. They're wondering why naive teachers, first-year graduates, are coming into the school, taking one look and fucking off again. They're wondering why. Why are we seeing such a mad exodus of teachers? Because of this shit. Because of overstress, underfunding, violence, no discipline, no moral support, no backup, no academic understanding, no experience of how to deal with this shit on the spot, no tacit knowledge of what to do and the consequences associated with this violence. They don't know what to do. You're just supposed to go with it. And because you're new and you're green to the profession, you sit there and think, oh, I'm just earning my stripes. It's like, no, you are taking a beating. You're taking a beating. And because you're a first year, they're going to expect you to take it. It's like, oh, you're earning your stripes. Wait till they really start fucking you over. It's like, it's fucked. And if you're thinking the union is going to save you, no. No, it's cute. They'll take your money. They'll give you lip service, and every now and again they'll bump up the wages of permanent staff. If you're casual, you're fucked. If you are, if any kid turns around and says you did this, you will be facing an investigation, regardless of whether you did it or not. There is no backup because the deputies don't want to be seen as enabling someone who might have done something. You are very much on your own. So when I say I'm a mercenary, I'm a mercenary. It's like I am on my own terms. I work on my own terms. I do my job. I do it as I know I need to do. But generally, I don't expect support from anyone around me. And you pretty much learn to sit on your own, work with your own work, and you don't get the support. You won't get the support. Any social support you might think you're getting because you're making friends in the workplace, it's not there. It's fake. It's fake. And that's not just coming from a bitter teacher, that's coming from a very experienced teacher who's been in a lot of settings. You think you're finding allies. They are only allies so long as you are working there full time. After you lose that position or move away, you will not, probably most likely not stay in contact with them. They are there to save their own jobs. If you have been suggested that you've done the wrong thing, you will lose those allies. It's a fucked up situation. You wonder why the education system's failing. Because there is nothing there that is working beyond anyone trying to either save their own job or escalate, like travel up the career ladder. They don't care. It's a very selfish, when it comes to staff members, it's a very selfish job. What we should be doing is looking after the kids. It's what I went into it for, because I came from that background where kids got fucked over. So I wanted to make sure that they were okay in school and ahead of safe environment. A lot of teachers have gone for different reasons. They've gone for the pay. They've gone for career advancement. They've gone for prestige. They've gone because, it's an easy job and you get holidays, which is bullshit because you're working on the holidays. I think adding the element of child violence is just one more reason why the education system might collapse. Because there's no safety in the workplace anymore. It's just not there. And there's no support to defend you when there is violence. It's all lip service. Have a flyer. Kid just kicked the shit out of you. Have a flyer. Is this going to fix me? Am I going to get a couple of days off? Can I at least have Dot to fill in the paperwork? That's, this... Incident report? No, you need to carry on, keep going. You do that incident report in your own time. It's like, yeah, no, bye. No, I'm not staying here. You can find yourself another kick bag to take on your job. So that school in particular has been crossed off my list. I'm not going back there. I'm not going back. They're lucky I don't sue the dick off them. So, for just leaving me hanging. Meanwhile, I still have marks up my arms where the fucker was scratching me and digs with his nails. And that's 2 days later after I've moisturized and scrubbed and, that's not why I got into teaching, dude. Not why I got into teaching. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Just a little bit of a vent. Just have a think. If you've got any insight into your workplace, if you're facing anything like that, where you know that you are physically endangered because of so many people trying to cover their own ass, I suggest you set up some boundaries, and if you can leave, if you can skill up, if you can mount an inquiry into it. It's just like, clearly this is a problem, and the EAs probably get it worse than I do because they're constantly in contact with these kids that are violent. I feel most for them, because the teacher can be ushered out. It's like, oh, we'll just get the teacher out, get the EAs will handle it. It's like, no. They're as like teachers as well. They are just as valuable. And it's crazy. They are devalued because they're not full paid teachers, but they still have to deal with the heavy lifting, the dirty work. It's crap. I hate it. So I would love to see any kind of investigation into the safety of staff within schools and things like that. Definitely. This is ridiculous. You should not have to go to work and fear for your fucking safety. It's so... Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm hoping you guys have a fantastic weekend. I'm sorry if I depressed you. This is one of the realities of what my workplace is like. I'm sure there are other worse workplaces, particularly things like paramedics and doctors and stuff dealing with ER and situations and druggies and shit. But please look after yourself. If you are in the workplace, please set up some boundaries. If you feel like you're not safe, if you feel like some shit's going down that, is not right, please do say something. Please do look after yourself. And even if everyone else is covering their fucking ass, look at the situation and go, you know what? Fuck you guys, I'm out. Don't just stick around because you think you're going to hold the ship up and keep the sails moving on your own. Ooh. Sorry, that was my alarm. I had to do that, otherwise I would have waffled. Get out while you can. And it sounds a bit cowardly, but at the same time, it's like, how long until this kid comes at me with scissors? Or, does some serious damage? I've got a science teacher who's broken her leg because a kid decided to have a go. She's on workers' comp. It's ridiculous. Teachers get fired just trying to do their fucking job. And it's horrible. It's horrible. Anyway, have a great weekend. If you know anything about it, please do, spread the word, have a conversation about it. You should not be getting assaulted in your workplace at all. I don't care what age someone is. Take it easy, and I hope you have a fantastic Sunday. I'm sorry I vented and probably made your day worse. But it's something we need to talk about, we need to know about, because we don't know what's going on, because a lot of it's fucking hushed up. It's just hushed up because it looks bad in the school, looks bad on the staff. The kid's painted as some kind of fucking maniac, and it's, well, if you're going to kick the crap out of someone, probably you should reassess what you are. I don't know, get him tested for something. A lot of it's hushed up, so we need to talk about it. If we don't know it's a problem, we don't know it's there, we can't fix it, can we? Okay, so, say something. If you see something, say something. Okay? Right, and I'll do another podcast, hopefully, on a better topic, less depressing, angry topic, later. It's a bit funny, though, because, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking you hit like a bitch. But, anyway, my mum hits harder than you. That's not what the mentality should be. I shouldn't be okay with it because he's smaller than me. It's still violence. Anyway, take it easy, and I'll do another podcast hopefully later.